you were born with a purpose and endowed with the seeds of greatness. I know that. I firmly believe it. You have what you need within you. You're enough. You have what it takes. Whatever it is you're seeking is right there with you. Did you know that biblical symbolism says that to turn east is to look within? On this day, you and I shall face east together. Look within ourselves and let you and I find a way to discover what it is we've been searching for. Our journey starts right now. It starts here with what you've got and right where you are. The prospering power that you desire is within you. Wow. Now that's a way to open the program. I'm Christopher Story, your host for Great Adventures in the Last Frontier. You're listening to Alaska Matters. My voice, by the way, is a registered weapon of mass seduction. I need to make that disclosure right at the top of the show. Here's my question for you today. I try to keep this program uplifting. I want it to be positive. I want it to have an influence in a positive nature in your life. Do not want to sit here and just tear down. Want to provide solutions. Want to be of inspiration as it pertains to the guests we have on the programs and the topics we cover, and always find a solution. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what the problem is and not offer the solution. That said, I'm asking you a question and offering a solution in the same question / solution. Will you step up and speak out? Will you encourage people you know, like and trust, to take the time to get your community back? It's not too late. You've heard the expression that once the avalanche starts, it's too late for the pebbles to vote. Well, don't wait. It's not too late. It's not too late for the pebbles to collectively come together as individuals and stop the nonsense that is basically pervading all of politics today, inclusive in that from D.C. to Juneau to Binkley to Homer City Hall. I'm asking you, as a friend, to step up and to speak out and not be afraid. Fear is okay. You know, when you're being chased in a dark alley, fear is good. Fear can be your friend. It can also hold you back from your destiny. It can hold you back from saying what is right. A friend of mine said to me recently, I'm afraid of losing business. You know, I mean, people might not hire me if I speak out. And I said, friend, that's okay. There will be some people that will hear what you have to say, hear your opinion, and say, you know what, I don't want to do business with a person that thinks that way. For the most part, though, it's not the way that you want to direct your life. You want to be able to look back from the rocking chair and say, you know what, I stood for something. I spoke up. I did what I felt was right, even in the face of adversity, even in the face of being attacked, even in the face of being possibly persecuted and losing my job. I had an opportunity recently to speak to somebody that I wouldn't have otherwise spoken to in the fashion that I did, probably a couple years back. But he said, well, my hands were tied. We talked with legal. This is what we were able to do. We wanted to possibly do more, but we couldn't on advice of legal. And I said, do you know what? I would have rather lost my job and done what I knew to be right. What I knew, that to me is the most powerful thing that you have control of as an individual, as a rugged individual in this great land, this last great bastion of individualism, which is Alaska, in the last great bastion of individualism in the world on this planet, which is America. You can stand up and say, this I believe to be right, and I will speak out on it. Now, will there be repercussion? Yes. I've seen that myself. You're going to find people that just say, you know what? I don't like that. I don't agree with that. And for the most part, there's an honest debate that can happen at that point. And then there's the anonymous debate. If you enter into forums and things online, there will always be those anonymous attackers, and you just ignore that. Just ignore that. You're not going to lose friends if you hold this debate and you speak up with a tone of respect and with a tone of looking to find the right answers. For example, I spent the last 48 hours attempting to discern and figure out what's happening with the $2 million that was dedicated and appropriated by the state of Alaska for the intersection at the Main Street and the Seward Highway, the bypass. that's been a goal of mine. Try to figure out, okay, at first I see the resolution was passed unanimously by the city council to ask for reappropriation of the funds, and I'm scratching my head and, well, why? What? Okay, well, and I'll tell you why later, and I'll tell you what you can do about that particular intersection and when and how you can weigh in on it. But let's get back to stepping up and speaking out. And, well, I just got an interesting email from Homer Planning and Zoning Department. Chris, just to follow up on the fence issue, sometime this week myself and Public Works employees will be by to confirm the location of the fence. Most of our work will involve finding the north lot line and its relation to the fence. Well, the fence is my fence, and I remember I brought this up to you a while back. I put up a beautiful fence, a really nice, beautiful fence. Oops, I didn't realize if you went over 4 feet within 20 feet of the right-of-way, you got to have a conditional use permit. Went back and forth with Planning and Zoning Department, decided I don't really want to go through that process. I don't need a 6-foot fence. I'll gladly cut it down when weather permits. I thought we had agreed on that. Now, here I am being harassed by threats of now most of our work. Well, I've asked, what is the scope of your work? We've already determined the fence is too close to the right-of-way to be 6 foot tall. I've decided to cut it down, no problem. Well, be prepared is what I'm saying, that there may be some repercussions, but it's worth it. Stand up and speak out, and do not worry about stepping on people's feelings. Here's what Dr. Ben Carson had to say about that.
Now, it's not my intention to offend anyone. I have discovered, however, in recent years that it's very difficult to speak to a large group of people these days and not offend someone. And people walk around with their feelings on their shoulders waiting for you to say something. Did you hear that? And they can't hear anything else you say. The PC police are out in force at all times.
And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about that. But there is one thing you can do about that, and that is to speak out. There's nothing you can do about the feelings, but there is something you can do about the sensitivity. And that's just to speak out and speak your mind and step up. And I'm asking you to please encourage anyone you know, like, and trust. If you're listening to this program, I know you want to do and you want to see what is right done within the city of Homer. You want enough of this PC police, enough of the minority, vocal minority taking control over your business, over your property rights, over what it is that you came here for, the individualism that you enjoy. That's what we need to put a stop to, and the best way to do it is at the ballot box. Encourage someone you know to run for city council and do what you know is right, even in the face of adversarial voices, because they're out there, and they will always be out there, but it's up to you, and it's up to me. When we come back from this short timeout, we'll have our Blackwater Bend Espresso Trivia Contest. We call it the Alaskan Mindbender. Also, I'm going to play a clip from a movie that I was just encouraged to watch by a friend. It was such a good movie. I hope you'll join me in that, but you'll get to hear at least my favorite. I think it really sums up the entirety of the movie, and a whole lot more. Lots more opinions coming up here on Alaska Matters. You're listening to Alaska Matters. I'm Christopher Story, your host for Great Adventures in the Last Frontier. Dave Webb is my engineer and executive producer, making this program sound fantastic. When I whip out my weapon of mass seduction, that would be my voice, you know that Dave is making sure it's synthesized to the exact frequency which will harmonize with your individualism. There's no doubt about it. Without Dave, I'd sound like a complete hack. And we don't want that. All right, Resolution 13-008. It was a resolution of the Homer City Council reappropriating or asking for $2 million to be reappropriated from the corner of Main Street and the bypass as far as a signal or some sort of traffic control, be it a roundabout or signal. They've asked for that to be reappropriated to the new Port and Harbor office or a new Skyline Drive fire station. This was brought to the Homer City Council by Councilman Burgess. Now, I did send Councilman Burgess an email. I did not get an answer yet. I'm sure he will reply, but I took it upon myself to go ahead and contact DOT. And here's what I've found out for you, and I wanted to bring this to you today. I spoke with both David Post and Carla Smith out of the Anchorage DOT office, and they actually weren't aware that the city had asked for reappropriation of the monies. That was news to them. So I actually sent them a copy of that resolution. And I wouldn't say that they were shocked, but there was definitely surprise. You could hear silence when I informed that. I said, no, we did not know that. And so I sent him a copy of the resolution. But more to the point of that call was to find out where in the process is Department of Transportation relative to providing some safety at the corner of Main Street and the bypass, that intersection, which is wholly dangerous at almost any time of the day. It's just awful corner. I mean, just awful. This is the town that left-hand turns forgot. That really needs a signal there in the worst way. So here's where it's at right now. Again, while they did not know that the city of Homer had asked for reappropriation of those $2 million, they did know that there was already a highway safety improvement fund available and had secured said funding to do something there. It's yet to be determined if it's going to be a roundabout or a signal, but here's the kicker. It's going to be about 2016 before you see anything there. About 2016, by the time they go through environmental studies, right-of-way acquisition, public hearing process, all of that, and design consultations, more consultations, it's going to be about 2016 before you and I see any safety brought to the corner of the intersection of Main Street and the bypass. And that's just the way it goes. There's not a lot you and I can do about it. But here's what I'd like to do is take a mini poll, if we could, and I'll pass these the results along to our friends at the Department of Transportation. Would you, a Homer resident or vicinity, if you're in Anchor Point, that's fine, or east of Homer, just the listening populace here in general, what would you rather see? Would you rather see a roundabout at the corner of Main Street and the bypass, the intersection there, or would you rather see it signalized similar to the intersection at the highway and Lake Street by McDonald's and Goldmine Gifts? So which would you rather see, a roundabout or a signal? Let's do this. Text me right now, 299-7653, 299-7653, 7653. And I want to know. Let's do just an informal survey. Now, you'll have an opportunity, according to the DOT spokespeople I spoke with, you'll have an opportunity to weigh in on this. They'll hold public input meetings sometime, probably fall of 2013. Maybe winter 2013-14 as they get more design information. But I'm curious, what would you like to see there? Now, I think the $2 million that has been asked to be reappropriated could have gone towards some, they'll do hardscape with the transportation safety money. They won't do any landscaping or anything like that. But, maybe it wasn't wholly a bad idea to reappropriate those monies. If DOT is already going to be doing something with that intersection, that may have been a really good call by Councilman Burgess. And I'll let you know what Councilman Burgess tells me in his email, or if he should call me about this matter. But basically, don't look for anything to happen there for a couple of years. What I would like to see is pressure brought to bear. I'd love to see more pressure brought to bear on doing something sooner than later. And I'm going to tell you my opinion. You tell me yours. I do not want to see a roundabout there. I want to see a signal, and I'll tell you why. It's nothing to do with aesthetics. I like going to small communities where they have unique things. They've got public squares, and they've got statues and fountains and things of that nature. I like that, and I appreciate that. And if we determine at some point in the future that Pioneer or down in Old Town at Main and Bunnell or somewhere else of a less industrial highway nature, there is a need and call and monies for, and right-of-way, by the way, for a roundabout, fine. That's great. Those are I don't mind them. I don't mind them. On the main highway, I think it's a problem. I'd like to see that just signalized, get it done. And besides of which, it's going to be very costly and may exceed even the highway safety transportation funds if we choose to go a roundabout, because there's so much acquisition of right-of-way that needs to be gotten there. All right, so we're just about to our Alaskan Mindbender. I want to share with you a piece of a movie that a friend of mine encouraged me to watch. Oh, she probably told me about a month ago, you got to see this movie. It's called The Last Ounce of Courage. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. Well, eventually Netflix sent us a copy of it. And, I mean, I have entered a deal with Netflix, if you're aware of it or not. I don't know. It's a monthly deal. They, we pay them $30 a month, and they send us all the videos we can eat. So anyway, we got this movie, and I watched it the other night, and I said, oh, man, this is timely. 10 years ago, I would have said this movie is a farce. 5 years ago, I would have said, well, it's a little stretch of the imagination. Today, I say this is tomorrow. Here's my favorite portion of The Last Ounce of Courage.
We can't let the enemy take one more inch. Not one more inch. We can't be silent anymore. The silence has to stop. and it has to stop today. Young men and women are dying in foreign lands to preserve the freedoms that we enjoy every single day. Can you hear them? Just listen. It's their voices from the grave. They're wondering if they died in vain. Do we dare diminish their sacrifice by our silence? Well, if your answer is no, then you think about this. When history is written, will history say you stood by and you did nothing? Or will history say that you fought? You fought like those brave souls. You fought to preserve the memory of the young men and women that have given everything for this country and for you.
Wow. Man, that almost deserves a moment of silence. There, that's as long as I could stay silent. That was awesome. It's such a good movie. That I don't want to, it's not a spoiler alert because the entire movie is building towards that pinnacle moment. And you know that anyway. You just know that. So I haven't ruined the movie for you. You've got to see it, friends. It's such a powerful movie. I mean, it really is such a powerful movie.
Power to the people! Power to the people!
Where are all of these people? Remember this? Where did our counterculture friends go? You know what I mean? The people that wanted the power to the people. And now I see those very same people, by and large, saying things like, well, if the government doesn't spend it here, they'll spend it somewhere else, so they might as well spend it here. What happened to the power in the hands of the people? We see so many people wanting to centralize the money, control, and power. I don't understand where that counterculture group went, that all of a sudden drone attacks on American citizens, Fourth Amendment, overrated. Second Amendment, it's just a matter of time before they come after your First Amendment rights, which I are exercising here. I just don't understand where those people went. I came across that song earlier in the week, maybe it was late last week, and I was thinking to myself, where is that group? Well, they're the leaders of today, and they're the ones jamming this collectivism down our throats and saying individualism is out the door. I've had enough. I don't know about you. All right, let's relax. Alaskan Mindbender brought to you by Blackwater Bend Espresso, your home for gourmet coffee, custom roasted, award-winning beans, handcrafted and served with a smile. You will love Blackwater Bend Espresso as much as I do. I guarantee it, or your money back. Superb service and the best cup of coffee in Alaska. Halfway between Homer and Anchor Point, Blackwater Bend Espresso, not your average drip. Like me, I'm sort of an average drip. They're not. Here's your question. Representative Lindsey Holmes recently switched political parties from Republican to Democrat, or B, from Democrat to Republican. A or B, from R to D or D to R. Send me your text right now, 299-7653, 299-7653. And by the way, we're still taking your text message. Weigh in on that as well. What do you want to see at the corner of Main Street and the bypass, roundabout or signal? We've gotten about 15, looks like up to 20 votes so far. I want yours as well, 299-7653. Don't go anywhere. More coming up here on Alaska Matters.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
There it is. That's the great one, Ronald Reagan. Nobody said it better. I honestly don't think it's been said any better than what Ronald Reagan said. That was in 1975. Funny story, just if you go to YouTube and you watch him, Johnny Carson interviewed Ronald Reagan, and I think it was 75, I think earlier that year, maybe it was 76. Anyway, considering a run, and man, what a charismatic, fun, real, down-to-earth human being was Ronald Reagan. All right, so ongoing debate here. It's kind of this is sort of fun. This is the cool thing about technology and radio. So radio is one of the older technologies on the face of the earth and still the most effective and the most fun. You know it's true. And yet, here I are, sitting here texting with you back and forth, and we've got so far the count is in 25 of you say, and these are 25 of you that decided to weigh in on this, say, traffic lights. I mean, just unequivocally, traffic lights. There's no conversation. 2 so far, only 2 want the roundabout. I don't know what the math is on that percentage-wise. I do. I'm just giving you a hard time. But seriously, it's dominating traffic light, traffic light, traffic light. One individual, I said, well, this was when he was by himself. I texted back during the break and said, well, you're alone. Do you want to change your vote? Of course, affectionately kidding. He said, the libertarian in me can't stand waiting at a traffic light when there's no traffic. And here's the beauty of the traffic light as it was installed at the corner of Lake Street and the highway already. It's called a smart light. And I spoke to my friend Kevin down at DOT. Essentially, it senses when there's traffic coming down Lake Street. And if there's traffic coming down Lake Street, it signals that the highway, it'll change the signal. So in other words, though, on the highway, it's green for 100 years unless somebody drives down Lake Street. That's smart. It works. I remember my brother said he was so amazed that the city managed not to screw that up. And I said, well, it wasn't the city. It was the state. It's DOT. This is a super intellectual traffic light that does a great job. I talked to another friend yesterday, uber right-wing conservative guy, and he just said, I just don't want to see any more traffic lights in town. I said, I know, I understand. We care. Even those of us that are conservative, we care about the beauty of this state, this city, this community. That's why we live here. I told somebody earlier today, there's 2 types of people in this world, those that live in Homer, Alaska, and those that wish they did. It's the truth. Everybody wants to be here for a reason, but folks, I almost got hit. The reason I'm so passionate about this is that that is such a dangerous intersection. I was coming up from one of my favorite little restaurants down there, the Mermaid Cafe, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes a car that I thought was turning in the turning lane. No, they decided they were not going to turn. And I'm out, just about T-boned. Just about T-boned. Now, some people in the planning department may have enjoyed seeing that happen, but I didn't want to see that happen. So, all right, so here, Corbin and Camille are both our winners today. They are going to Blackwater Bend Espresso for free because they knew Lindsay Holmes, that's right, found her right mind. By that I mean she switched from Democrat to Republican. And there is a recall Lindsay Holmes action taking place. They're referring to it as bait and switch because she was just elected back in October as a Democrat, and now she has switched parties and wants to caucus with the winners, with the Republicans, the people. And by winners, I just mean the majority, the people that won the majority. And she wants to caucus with them and finds that her thoughts and views are more in alignment with that party. I don't know. Is that bait and switch? Would you be upset? Probably you would be, but I don't know that I would join a recall effort, even if they went the other direction. So anyway, that's a lot of fun. So thanks for playing part in that, Corbin and Camille. You're both going out to Blackwater Bend for free. I want to thank them for making this portion of the program possible. A lot of people talking about Ben Carson. A lot of people talking about him. Here's one more clip from Ben Carson from the prayer breakfast the other morning.
People are afraid to say Merry Christmas at Christmas time. It doesn't matter whether the person you're talking to is Jewish or, whether they're any religion. That's a salutation, a greeting of goodwill. We've got to get over this sensitivity.
I agree 100%. I mean, there's that aspect of what's going on, and then there is I can't believe I've let time get away from me. I really wanted to talk about this resolution. Yeah, this resolution that where the Kenai Peninsula Borough is asking for the state to expand the Medicaid program. And I want to make it real clear because I talked about this. I touched on it last week on Radio Realty, which, by the way, will be airing again tomorrow, 12:30 on KPEN. I wanted to touch on this, and because I wrote a resolution, I call it Resolution 1776, and I am not against a safety net. Absolutely not. I believe in helping out in the charity, but I do believe charity comes from the heart, not the government. And so what I wrote was it's called the Resolution 1776, and I posted it on Facebook. You can go find it there, and I'll share it on the program tomorrow on Radio Realty. Basically, it emphasizes that you were born with a purpose. And I do not want to propagate and proliferate the poverty mindset. You've got everything you need. You really do. Alaska matters, my friend, and so do you.